Hi, it's Judy from Fox Cities Quilt Company, and if you are watching this tutorial, it's probably because you picked up the Cuddle bench pillow, and you scanned a QR code to get you to this video tutorial. Otherwise, you probably got this just on an organic search, or you probably are subscribed to our channel, and if you are, we thank you very much. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a really cute bench pillow that you can leave out all winter long, and it is made from Shannon's Cuddle hide and our digital Cuddle, and I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. So to make this project, what you're going to need is your 2 pieces of Cuddle, and I have mine already cut to size. So this is the front of the bench pillow, and this will be the back of the bench pillow. I also like my favorite flat pins, and you can get the flathead flower pins. I believe they're by Dritz. By Annie's Stylus, which is like my favorite thing. You'll also need a zipper that is longer than the shortest edge of your bench pillow, and you need polyester thread. And so what I'm going to do to get started is make sure, I'm going to take, one other thing you need, almost forgot. You need a 16 by 36 or 38 inch pillow form, and let me get that in the shot there. And we have these in the shop. So this is a basic bench pillow form. And then to get started, what you're going to be doing is you want to make sure that your Cuddle pieces the nap is kind of going the same way. So if I brush this up this way, you can see that's the opposite way. And if I brush it down this way, you can see that that lays flat. And so I want the nap to be going the same direction. But on the Cuddle hide, it's a little hard to tell. This feels smooth this way, and this feels a little bumpy that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this around so that that smoothness goes down just the same as the smoothness or the nap on the front of my pillow form. So I want to make sure that that goes down. And you see how that lies out? I'm going to show you again. So that pushes all the nap up, and this pushes all the nap down. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to now, on the one short end, I'm going to put these right sides together. And let me narrow my camera so that you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but I'm going to pin this first. And so when I pin this, I want it to look staggered. So I'm going to start here and go through, start on this end and sew through this way. So I want my pins to be staggered. When I stagger my pins like this, and I put them perpendicular with the selvage or the cut fabric instead of this way, then what happens is I can come right down the middle. My fabric has less chance of shifting, and also it has less chance of buckling or getting a lump. So, because sometimes when you put the pin in this way, let me show you, and you're stitching this way, all of a sudden you see how that's going to roll up over your pin, and you don't want that. So I'm just going to keep pinning this all the way down, and I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and show you how I sew this. Okay, so I'm all set up and I'm ready to sew. I wanted to show you that I have my walking foot in, and that I also have my stitches set up. I have a straight stitch here, and I have my stitch length at 4.0 millimeters. And so what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to try and get you a good camera angle without it being completely in my lap so that I can sew here, is I'm going to take a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm also going to pull these pins out as I'm going so that I don't want to run over my pins. So I'm going to go ahead and start here, and I hope this is a good angle for you to see what I'm doing. And just going to start sewing here until I sew to the end, and then I'm just going to take a back stitch. And again, I'm just going to pull these pins out as I go, because pins are pedestrians. We don't run them over. And you can see how nice this goes through when you stagger those pins. It just makes for a nice, easy, and sewing, and it doesn't really slip. And then you can just keep going all the way down, and I am hoping you can see that well enough. So I'm just going to keep pulling these out as I get closer, and it just makes it so nice and easy to sew that cuddle this way. And I'm just going to keep going down, and I'm going to pull this out. I'm trying to do this so that you can see if I can get a better angle for you. And I'm going to pull that one out because I don't want to run it over. Let me straighten this up. This is what I use my little stylus for. It works great. And then I'm just going to sew it right off the edge. I think I'm going to take a back stitch here just because it is the edge of my pillow, and I want to make sure that that comes out nice. Okay, I have that seam all sewn, and I'm just finger press that open so that it's nice and flat. So again, I have sewn the one short end of my bench pillow. And now I'm going to put in my zipper. So what I have here, my bench pillow is about 18 or 19 inches wide, but my zipper is 22 inches long, which is absolutely fine. What I'm going to do here now is I am going to put my zipper right side down. And what I need to do is I'm going to put my zipper in first before I sew any of the edges. So what I'm going to do is I want the zipper teeth that are going to be facing that seam, and I want them to line up with the seam of my pillow. So now I'm just going to go and I'm going to pin that all the way down, making sure that that zipper teeth is lined up with my seam. And I should tell you, as you can see at the top here, this fell down, I am leaving room for my seam allowance to go across here. So if you want to, you could put a pin across here, but you don't really need to. I will, just so you can see that that's where the end of my zipper is going to be. And because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to sew this from the zipper side. So I'm just going to continue to pin this down, and then I will take you back over to the sewing machine and show you how to sew this. Okay, so I've finished pinning, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing on this end where the head of this pin is. Let me see if I can get you up closer and better. Sorry for the jiggling. And you see where I've had the head of the pins? So I'm going to start sewing down this way so that I can pull these out as I go along. What I'm going to do is once I get to the bottom, I've left myself a good inch underneath here because I have to account for the seam allowance that's going to go across here. And I'm going to come down here, I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to sew on the other side of this pin that is going the opposite direction. And I'm going to sew back and forth there a couple of times because I want to make sure I have a good zipper stop, because I'm going to end up cutting the excess of this zipper off. And then what I'm going to do is pivot again, and I will be sewing then this way so that I can pull these pins out as I go. And let me show you how I do that. Hopefully I can get you a good camera angle. The other thing you can see is I now have put in my zipper foot so that I can get up close to that zipper. So some of this fabric is going to be bunched up. I'll try and keep it out of the way as much as possible. But I'm going to start sewing just on the other side of that pin because I will take it out in a little bit as I go. But I don't want to sew on that pin because remember what I always say, pins are pedestrians. We don't want to run them over. So I'm going to start sewing here. And again, I have my zipper foot in so that I can get nice and close to that zipper. And I'm going to just keep sewing, and I'm going to pull these out as I go. But I want to make sure too that that zipper tape and the zipper teeth, let me pull this up out of here, are as close to that seam as humanly possible. So let me just keep sewing here. And I'm sorry for the obstructed view. Oftentimes it's just me in my sewing room and no camera crew, just amateur photography by Judy. Okay, let me get this up and out of the way, see if you can see that better now, because I was able to move some of that. Okay, and now I'm just going to keep sewing. I'm going to pull this out as I go. And I'm up nice and close to that zipper teeth. And this is really makes it so that you have a hidden zipper. If you wanted to, you could make your zipper part of your design, but I just didn't really want to. I really wanted it to be kind of hidden. Okay, so now you can see that I am up next to that pin. And what I'm going to do is I am going to pivot. I'm going to put my, oops, I lost a pin here. And I'm going to put my foot back down. And then I will pull this pin out so I don't run it over. And I am going to go back and forth across there a couple of times. So that way, I have a good zipper to stop. I'm going to do it one more time. And now I have a really good zipper stop. I'll show you what that looks like once I get this turned around. Now I'm going to pivot this again. And this is what I mean. So now that I have pivoted this one more time, my pins are now in the opposite direction so that I can pull those out as I go along. And it should be much easier to do now since we have one side already pinned down. Oops, that one's in the wrong way, isn't it? I'll get that pulled out. And I'm going to just keep sewing all the way down, and let me move this up and out of the way so that you can now see the rest of my fabric. Okay, and I'm just going to keep sewing. And just a little further. A little bit further, and then I can get to the end here because we have to make a stop on this end also. So let me show you what that looks like. Now, if you feel like your zipper pull is getting in the way, just feel free to lift your presser foot, and you can slide that out of the way. It's a little harder with Cuddle. Let me make sure that I can do that. If it will let me. It won't let me, but that's okay. So I'm just going to sew across here until, see that pin there? I'm going to go up to that pin, and I've gone past that zipper pull, and I'm going to pull that pin out. And I'm going to take one more stitch, and then I'm going to turn this 90 degrees again. And I am going to go back and forth to make this zipper stop. And let me go back and forth again. And one more time. And then you can see that I have a gap in stitching from here, where my needle is, to here. So all I'm going to do now is just turn this 90 degrees, and I'm going to close up that gap. And we're all done. Okay, you can see that my zipper is already encased in there. I've made a stop here, and I have left enough room so that when we fold this right sides together, I have enough room for that seam allowance. And then I went all the way to the bottom and I sewed across here, and I left enough room for that seam allowance. So here's the exciting part, and I want to show you the finished side. This zipper will be kind of hidden in here on the end. So what we have to do is we now have to expose that zipper. So you may have some of your cuddle is in that seam allowance. Don't worry about it. You can just rub it right out. See what I've done with my fingers? See how it's in the seam allowance there? If you just take your finger, it will rub right away from that seam allowance. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to take my seam ripper and carefully get this started and start exposing that zipper. So this is the one time when it is actually fun to take out stitches. So, but just be careful that you're not cutting open your fabric, and see how my zipper is being exposed there. So now I can go all the way up, and because my stitches were big enough, it should come apart pretty easily. And I will go all the way up here. Oh, it's coming apart really nicely. Look at that. And that zipper will be nice and hidden in there. A lot of people get afraid of zippers. Don't be afraid of zippers. It's just a zipper. If it doesn't work out, you can always just take it out. If you wanted to also to make this bench pillow, you could also do an envelope back, but I wanted to get the most I could out of the fabric without wasting it. So that's why I put in a zipper instead of doing an envelope back. It would have been much easier, but what's the fun in that? Got to give yourself a little challenge. Okay, now when I'm at the end, see where that stop is? Because I went back and forth across there, it should stop nicely. And that is the end of my zipper, and I'm going to end up cutting this off. But now let's go the opposite way so that I can show you what that looks like. And I think I started way up here. Yes, I did. So I'm going to get that taken out. But again, you're going to want to be very careful because you don't want to rip your fabric. And that is coming out so nicely. And as you can see, I haven't ripped any fabric. I haven't even had any little fuzzies come out. So that's working out really well for me. And look at, and there is the zipper head. The zipper pull, I should say. Okay, so now watch this. We have a zipper. Yay, look at that. So now we have an opening for to put our pillow. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up. No, actually, oh, I lied to you. I want to leave this open. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to cut this off. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. This is my rotary cutter that I use to cut zippers. Don't use your good rotary cutter. And I'm just going to cut that off. It's just a plastic zipper. And you can either get another zipper pull and use this short piece, or you can just throw it away. All right, so there is the opening. So this is easy peasy from here on out. So what we're going to do now is we are going to fold this again, right sides together. Okay? And I want you to pin again all the way down, just like you did on that one short side before we put in the zipper. And I'm going to do that, and I'm going to sew down all the way down on 3 sides. So I'm going to do a long side, the other long side, and then the short side. Let me show you that, and then the short side. So again, let me show you how I'm going to pin this, because it really is super easy and super slick if you do it this way. And then you're going to put your walking foot back in when you do this. So what I'm going to do, because I'm going to start going down the long side, is I'm going to go ahead and pin this, and I'm going to stagger those pins just like I did on that first side. And I'm going to keep going all the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and finish sewing these 3 sides, and I will come right back to you. All right, now I have this sewn on all 4 sides. I have my zipper in. My zipper was open when I went and sewed all of those sides. When I got to the zipper side at the bottom, I just folded it so that it was flat, and I went across there a couple of times on each side. So I folded it so that seam laid flat. And then I sewed down the long sides, and then I also sewed down the short side. So now here's the fun part. If you left that zipper open, which you should have, you get to turn your bench pillow right side out. It's so cute and so pretty and so soft. And here we go. And then I'm just going to push out those corners. And here's one corner where the zipper was, and here is the other one. And because we have left enough room, when I close that zipper up, no one can hardly even tell. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put in my pillow form. And what's really nice is because the inside of your Cuddle is kind of slippery, it should slip right in there. So there you have it. Here is our super cute, super soft, super adorable, and you can leave this out all winter long. It just doesn't have to be for Christmas. And that is our tutorial. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, call us at the shop, 920-939-3989. This is Judy from Fox Cities Quilt Company.